Well, hello YouTube. It's a fine Tuesday night here in Louisiana, and that means it's time for a pipe tobacco review. So let's get to it. Tonight we are gonna review Pembroke. So if you've already seen my first impressions video, you know I really liked it to start with. So the question is has that remained? And what do you need to do if you're going to decide that you want to chase down some of these rare tobaccos? Is it worth it? And so let's kind of get into the meats of the review. Pembroke. What is it? It is an English blend. It's a ribbon cut, and it's made by Esoterica. It used to be that Penzance was, from what I understand, was the only blend that was really hard to find, as that was kind of their magnus opus. Is that how you say that? Anyway, it was their great tobacco and was difficult to find. And then all of the Esoterica blends began to become hard to find, either because people are buying them all up or they're not producing as much anymore. And I think it's mainly because people are buying it all up. Anyway, it is an English blend, but it also has a cognac top note, I think is the best way to say it, or kind of added flavoring. From what I understand, the English side of it, the blend type, is it's just Margate, which Margate is Virginias, Orientals, and Latakia. So kind of a straightforward English blend, and people love it. And I know I read a lot of the reviews online that a lot of people found it odd that that these two blends were the same with just cognac added to it. But that's, according to the manufacturer, that's what this is. It's Margate with cognac added to the topping. As I mentioned, it's a ribbon cut, but it's Esoterica does their ribbons very thin, so much so that I guess most people would actually call it a shag cut. And I'm going to show you a little bit of video here over on top. And so one of the things that you have to be mindful of if you get this tobacco is that it is the shag cut. There are two different textures between the Oriental tobaccos and the Virginia. So the Virginia tobaccos, they're kind of long and stringy and stick together, whereas the Orientals and the Latakia are just as thin, but they don't have that long stringy texture, so they don't stick together. So when you go to get a clump out, or you get to get a bowl full out, I find that the Orientals and the Latakia kind of fall out as you're moving it, and the Virginia stick together, and that comes into play when you're packing your bowl. So you just kind of have to be careful to make sure you're getting fair amounts of each, or at least I did. Maybe that's not a big issue for anybody else, but it was just something that I found interesting, that I had all these small bits of Orientals and Latakia kind of at the end to put on top of my bowl at the end. And you know, probably not a huge deal, but just something that you'll notice, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about from that footage that I laid over on top of this. So we've covered the details of the blend, and let me see if I can give you some details on the tin note itself. This time, hopefully, even though I've got the mic on, it won't pick up all that ruffly paper, or paper ruffling, as it did last time. Okay, so, and it's got a lovely presentation. I think all the Esoterica blends that come in tins, it's got the nice paper layout here. You can see the nice mixture of Virginias and Orientals. Beautiful blend. And on the nose here, you get, you're certainly met first of all by campfire. So the Latakia plays a large role in that. I pick up no Virginias. There's kind of there's something in the background that's, I don't know how to describe it. I just don't know how to put it into words. That would probably be the Orientals. It's a spice kind of that's going on. So you got campfire spice, and then, but after the campfire, what you really get is this the sweetness, that it does have a tinge of a boozy quality to it. Although I'm not sure I'd put my finger on booze had I not been told that that's what it is. But I find that with a lot of toppings that are booze, I get the sweetness from it, but not the alcohol flavor. And my guess is that most of the alcohol's gone by the time that top note's put on there anyway. But there's this sweetness, and it's kind of a fruity sweetness. So I think more along the lines of like cherries than like a caramel or nougat or chocolatey sweetness, right? So they're different kind of aromas to sweetness. So that liqueur, that cognac flavor really kind of manifests itself in a sweetness in which I would say it's almost like a cherry syrup sweetness. I'm not saying it smells like cherry flavored tobacco. It's just because it is a light sweetness, but it's good. It's a lovely aroma, that smokiness and the sweetness that they mix together, and they're just perfect to me on the nose. So let's talk about the smoke. And I think more than anything else, maybe let me define this by what it's not. Because when you read the label, you've got an English mixed with a cognac, you might begin to think, well, hey, maybe this is kind of like a Frogmorton cellar type thing, right? That we've got an English mixed with a sweet alcohol topping. And let me disabuse you of that idea right away. To me, Frogmorton cellar was very much, you had that smokiness, and you had that kind of Frogmorton sweetness that was in that aroma, but you also had like these vanilla and caramel smells that whiskey cube imparted to that. That's not what this is, not even on the nose and the tin note, and certainly not in the smoke. And so that's where the first thing that I want to get across to you is that I find that this to be a very, it's a smooth blend, but it's full of flavor, and a lot of the earthy flavor notes with a little bit of kind of peppery spice mixed in with a good bit of that Latakia flavor. And there's some points at which it kind of ebbs into that savory kind of meat category maybe, and then it moves over to more of that just kind of woody, earthy flavor, and I think it spends a lot of time there with some spice. On the retrohale, as you smoke this, is where certainly at the beginning of the bowl you'll get a little of the cognac. Again, it's not overpowering, just like it's not overpowering here. It's I'd say it's more present in the tin note than it is in the smoke, like most things with pipe tobacco. But it's there, and it helps this produce a nice, mellow, yet full-flavored smoke, and I really like it. So I was able to get that from marscigars.com for 13 bucks. As I told you in the last video, I subscribed to Martin at Over a Pipe, and he had gone live telling everybody when, where, and how to get it. And that's how I was able to get it. I highly encourage you, if you can pick up some Esoterica Pembroke, you ought to do it. It's a lovely English blend, and I find it very unique. It's in fact so unique that if I could find it on a regular basis and I could store away several tins, this would become my everyday smoke, because it's that smooth but that flavorful, and it just works. It's a great blend. So with that, it's the Earl of Pipes. I hope y'all have a lovely evening. I'll see y'all around. Have a good night.